Welcome to my channel, my name is Valerio and today we're gonna review the Gundam RX-78F00 Chogokin DX. This is a special toy. Why? Because as a first thing, this is a commemorative item of the real Gundam that I built in Yokohama. And even just to get a hold of it is extremely hard because you have to win a lottery, and then when you win the lottery you need to be you're allowed to buy it. The lottery runs on Bandai. Obviously you can buy directly from a third-party reseller, but then you pay quite a bit of a premium. Anyway, so before we start the review, I want to say thanks to my good friend Patrick. This is the first review that I did with somebody, so I'm pretty happy about it, and it went pretty well. We had fun, and so I'm sure we're gonna do some other in the next day, in the next future. Anyway, he brought the toy, we look at it together, and we're gonna give our honest opinion about it. Still not a sponsor review, this is just two people with a passion that want to share something. Now, the total cost of this item, in case you were able to buy it, it was 98,000 yen. And the line DX Chogokin normally is a line that works with macros, so the Valkyr are normally within the line DX Chogokin, but I think that here the DX is referred to one of the longest line within Bandai lineup, which is the Chogokin, which are normally a line of heavy diecast item. Can be robot, can be vehicle, and in this case is the deluxe version, which means very expensive, very big, high content of diecast, and a lot of gimmick inside of it. This is how they can be summarized within it. Now, I went to see this item for real in Japan. I went to Yokohama and see it moving, so I was quite excited to see it live. However, because of budgeting, I decided not to buy it in the end, so I'm very, very happy that Patrick decided to come here and share with me this toy. Anyway, as usual, we will start with accessories, then we move at the main robot, and then we're gonna move into gimmicks, comparison, and conclusion, which means what I think about it. So for accessories, I could have decided to show you way more within accessory, but I decided let's really stick to the super basic out of it for one simple reason. So this is the shield, then there is the rifle gun, and there are the beam saber on the side. And I will not put the structure into which you can build, in which you can put this Gundam, for one simple reason. It is definitely, it's not an accessory, it is part of the main item. This item, it is made to be displayed within his cage, so within his diorama. Otherwise, it is, it is a bit of a waste of money. It looks at its best, it looks as is proper. Now we're gonna see at the manual. So within there are two manuals, one for the Gundam, one for the base, for how to build all the structure. What can I say? They're pretty clear, and we could also discuss that the armor is actually an accessory because you can remove it completely from the robot, but because of not too much mechanical detail in the Gundam, I don't think it's an accessory. I think it's an extra gimmick out of it. And a gimmick I wasn't particularly interested, so I don't show it, but technically you can remove fully the armor of the robot. Now we're gonna finally see the robot, and as a first introduction, let me tell that this robot looks way better live than it looks on video, and it looks way better bigger than it looks into the smaller scales like the 1/100 and 1/44. Why? Because all the detail that is being crammed inside of it take their space, and they can only be seen when you see it from on a big frame. Let's put it like this. Anyway, this is a 1/48 scale. The height, it is 37 centimeters, which is exactly equivalent to, I want to say 15 inches or something like that, then depends within and whatnot. And sorry if it's a bit shaky, the camera, but it is so big that I have to put the tripod a bit behind, and it's not as stable as usual. Anyway, it's completely fully painted. It gives a super nice sensation of quality out of it. Can't go wrong. This is really a premium product from the get-going, and in your hand you feel it. It is heavy, so you can feel the die-cast inside of it. We didn't weigh it because I don't think this should be how you judge any kind of toy, but it is heavy. You will not be disappointed if you look for the heft of a product, and this is pretty stable in our hand. It is big. I think that this design did grow on me quite a bit after I saw it live, but also in this particular incarnation, while I'm not a giant fan of it if we go to look it into the small scale. Now you see the hand of my friend Patrick, and we're gonna look articulation. So there are a bit of limit on the articulation done by the lights inside of it, and there are a few cables that run through the system. So the head is able to do tick-tock, move left and move right, but it's not super movable. It is quite a bit, and for all the robot, it is ratchet joints all around. And from what other friends told me, there are quite a bit of individual variances within the robot. So for some of it, the joints are going to be stronger, and some of it is going to be a bit weaker. So you see the armor, these two things over the arms tend to pop up. And I think this is just the design, to be fairly honest. I don't think it's a problem with anything else. If not, like, if you want them that didn't pop up, then you will have to limit the articulation. Anyway, so double joint on the elbow, possibility of rotation on the bicep, which is below the bicep and just below the elbow. It is a bit weird. And you see articulated fingers, which are pretty nice. They're better, obviously, than the one of a perfect grade, so don't worry with it. You can have any kind of expressive position inside of it. And now you see my hands inside of it, because it's heavy, and we need, like, it's a two-people job, honestly. There is a bit of a butterfly joint, nothing too excessive, but enough to give you dynamic poses out of it. Now ab crunch, not bad, honestly. There is the gimmick in which you can see a motor inside of it, and to the left we're gonna see after when we turn it on the light. Weight, the waist can move even a bit more, and then it's blocked on a certain height. It is the block on the, you see, it can arrive up to there, and then it's locked into piece, so you avoid to snapping it on yourself. And then, you know, there are some tiny gears inside of it. It's a lovely detail, completely useless and purely aesthetic, but it has been made to reproduce the Yokohama factory Gundam. So this is as detailed as it goes for it. Now, when you bend the leg, there are all the panel of the armor that actually moves around. You can see how the armor split in two. And even if it's not aesthetic, this is exactly what happens with the real robot. In this case, I mean real in the most real way, like a real robot that moves. Sorry if it's out of focus, as I thought this is a really big item, and normally I'm using stuff that is, it is like half of it. Really, it's 20 centimeter in this case, it's like 40. Anyway, it cannot really do the split. Legs can move, but remember, 40 centimeters, and the ratchet joints are pretty a-okay. The foot can move up and down. There is a tip. It is very, very solid, and I took out the sound of it, but most of it, other than the feet, are ratchets. So they're not gonna go weak over you. However, there is they're ratchet and ratchet, as we know. In this case, they're pretty good, but not all the ratchet robots came with the same strength. So articulation-wise, guys, let's remember this is an extremely big toy, an extremely heavy toy with the armor that can be completely removed. And I don't remove it, guys, because I don't think it looks particularly good without it, really, to be honest. But it is very articulated. Quite appreciate every single bit of it. And while the line sort of Chogokin DX doesn't really allow for dynamic poses, this allows for some crazy pose for being so high, and you will see. Now we're gonna play a tiny bit with it so you can see. This is like more than focus on as the metal structure on mechanical detail. The focus is on posing however your mind sees fit, so that you can reproduce everything that you saw at Yokohama. Okay. Now let's start with what is the first gimmick. There are 4 buttons. We're gonna go number 1 and number 2, and I will speak over it. So you see the base. The base is pretty easy to build, and you can add actually 3 batteries inside of it, and it is exactly the light show that you will see at the Yokohama factory base. So there are a ton of lights, they sing, they move. The quality of the speaker, it is surprisingly good, so can't it is an high quality product, guys. And the only thing that means is that it doesn't move as the Yokohama factory, which if Robinson didn't exist, I would say it's impossible to do, but actually we know we can do also within this price range. So I think this is as close as you can go as see the Gundam before they take it out, which I think next month, without going to Japan. So really, and the must have. on that side, on lights, and if you wanted to go to visit Japan, alright. Lights that change colors, flashing effect, there are two projectors on the side, there are the official voice that come out of it. Pretty. Like, I don't know if it gives the same effect if you didn't see the real thing, but actually this is to me, reminds me of me going to visit with my family, and so I extremely like it. For however cheesy of a gimmick it is pretty nice. I will let go of the sound a tiny bit and then we can continue with the review. Anyway, there are two buttons on the top. There are four buttons. The first one, it is this one, so these are things with the lights flashing and whatnot. And the second one will play a song. The third one allow you to light only a certain bit of the Gundam. And the fourth one, I can't remember, I think it's just switching of color between red and light, and maybe between the eye as far as I can remember. Anyway, it is quite the light show. The annoying thing is that this is not USB power, so you need batteries. The batteries are AAA, so they're gonna go for quite a bit of time. And there are 5 batteries within the game. Overall gimmick side, this is as cool as it is, light show wise. And the fact that there are not too many batteries inside of it can only be appreciated. Now we saw a tiny bit of the gimmick. I told you, you can remove the battery, but I don't like it that much, so we'll not see it. And we're gonna do a tiny bit of comparison. And we see Lego Dude. Lego Dude is really small. I forgot to put it straight, but actually it can stay straight. This is the bust from the Yokohama base that I bought in Japan. The scale is the same, and actually, well, it's not painted. This is a random HG, the gas paint. The gas paint is not one of the small one, it's a bigger size HG. And now we're gonna look into, this is the Black Getter from Blitzway, which is not by any means a small figure, but we're gonna see the review on the channel in the next 2-3 days, if I'm not wrong. I'm rushing with review because I have a bunch of stuff incoming, so that's why normally it's once a week, but in this case we're gonna do a bit more. Now, after we finish, let me go with my conclusion about it. Now let's go with pro and cons. So as a cons, repairability, this is not easy to define. The fact that you need to win a lottery even to be allowed to buy it, and you can buy only from Bandai, it is quite hard. It's not impossible, but let's say it's quite hard to get it. Then as a cons, some parts of the armor are not super stable. I mean the kind of circular, the cylinders over the arms, those they're gonna plug out because of how it has been designed. I think maybe a bit more of work into it could have done. The rest of the armor is pretty solid on the top of it. Now, articulation, my friend told me that some reviewer complain about the strength of the arm ratchet joint that is not able to keep the shield. Here is totally able to keep it himself, so I think this is mainly about individual variances between one copy and another. And now, pros. So this is so big that this design that normally doesn't work on smaller scale because it looks too crammed, too noisy, as they tell, too much stuff, actually works extremely well in 1/48 scale. It looks extremely nice. Now, unfortunately, with the lights, it doesn't show exactly, but everything is colored in a nice pastel way, if it makes any sense. Proportions are not as terrible as they were for the normal Chogokin version. The normal Chogokin version looks like a deformed character with a giant head and small shoulder. In this case, you don't see it. The head, yes, is a bit big, but proportions are a tiny bit better, and you can only appreciate the increase into proportion, into how proportionate it is, the whole thing. As pro, it is extremely articulated. Like if you like to pose, you will have so much fun working with it because you can keep. I mean, now we're just playing with the pose, to be honest, so can't complain about it. And as another thing, I mean, the extra, like the all bass, it is actually awesome. Now, while I speak, I will have the rest of the music going on behind, so you can enjoy it as well. And this is definitely a showstopper because within the bass and how it stands, the space and everything, I can only say that this is really a nice centerpiece for a collection. on a personal level, the fact that it's color, the fact that it's articulated, the fact that the lights are proper lights and they are well thought and everything, I prefer it to the metal structure. The metal structure is just a giant big statue with a lot of mechanical detail that makes it nice. But once you have opened the panel, that's it. This one you can pose it, you can change position, and I can tell you for a fact, even if it's smaller than the metal structure, well, the price is half of it after all. These give you more bangs for your bucks, and I think it has been done on a higher quality level since this is painted, and the metal structure, at least the Sazabi, it is not, other than the details. So in my perspective, you can see special guest the head of my son. Anyway, as I can only recommend it if you're able to buy it. This is, if you have been to Japan and you saw it live, I will highly recommend it, because this is like the real thing. Now I will have to find one also for myself, and since in this game if you start after, it becomes harder to find them. However, I'm so positively impressed. Like, I was a bit afraid that this would have been a takedown, as in, guys, this is terrible, I don't like it, and blah blah blah, and actually live this is much better. I saw it already in Japan and it gave me a good impression, but now live, this is a nice giant action figure. You can pose it however you want, likes, gimmicks, diorama, there is a bit of for everything. Obviously you need to like the design, and this is always an important bit out of it, of whatever you buy. And from me is everything. Please guys, like and subscribe and share it. Bye from Valerio.